Hello Average Anglers, welcome to another Average Angler video. Today we're doing something a bit different to what we normally would do. We're here on the River KENN. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon I think now. I've been here for a bit more than half an hour, but I've been messing about with new tackle setup and stuff, but I've been fishing for about half an hour. I've got a Waggler set to just this side of the middle of the river. And I've got a feeder to 3/4 of the way across the river. I haven't yet to have anything that I would consider to be a positive indication from a fish. This river is very, very slow running. It's almost doesn't run at all. And normally it would run to the sea, which is to my right, and so it runs left to right. It's not tidal, it's not connected to directly to the sea. It's like a drainage setup, so it always runs, to my knowledge, it always runs left to right, but at the moment my float is running right to left, so I can only assume that the wind is dominating the flow, which is how low the flow is, which is probably not going to be conducive to me getting good bites today. It's well over 8 foot deep down the middle there, and I'm just pinging a couple of little patches of maggots in every now and again, and just letting the float run along in the wind, and I'm just hoping for a positive bite. Every now and again I've got double maggot on the Waggler there, and then on the right on this right hand rod here I've got a little tiny 3-hole cage feeder, really short hook length, which is probably not conventional for on the river, but just being quite positive today. It's my first time I've ever fished this venue, never seen it. Well, I came and sat down and looked at it with one of my mates who was fishing it. He lives local, Matt, and he was fishing it, and so I just came down here to pick his brains about depth and flow and what to expect and things like that. My float's definitely tripping bottom at the moment, so it keeps dipping under a bit of weed in spots, and then it pops back up and you think, oh, is that a bite? But it's not a bite, it's like the bottom. Just chucking this feeder, it's probably about the 4th or 5th chuck of this feeder now. I'm just chucking him in every now and again. I expect him to catch on the feeder, but he's there, and if he goes round, it might be a nice fish. So we've got a slightly stronger hook length on the feeder, although it's not super strong. Expect to catch nice, lots of smaller silverfish, perch, roach, some small skimmers, some hybrids, but there are also some really nice size bream in here, and some nice tench amongst obviously better roach, some very big perch and things like that. But it's not a commercial fish, it's not easy to catch them. I've come out this late in the evening, it's been very, very hot today. The water's very clear, it's been very hot. Just didn't fancy it was worth coming out until 5 o'clock now, middle of June. It's not going to get dark till 10, so if I fish till 9 I've got 4 hours fishing in, which is fine by me. Bit of pleasure angling, I'm just casting past the feeder, winding it back so I can sink that line, trying to stop that float drifting through and unnaturally, like it is at the moment. It's just very unnatural at the moment. Oops, just chucked a load of maggots on my lap. That weren't good. And just pinging some around it all the time. Get rid of maggots before they become a pest. There we are. Yeah, so things are slow, but that's what I expected. I feel like, a handful of small fish or one better fish will be a result for me. This is a bit of a recce really, just to see how hard it is and just to get back used to fishing, rod and line. And I'm going to be doing a few more videos like this, trying to pleasure fish. Don't want to bring too much tackle with me. It's got my chair, little setup, nice and quick. I can carry it all to my peg, no bother. and just have like a day's fishing on the cameras, and just do some bit of variety rather than my channel all being about the matches, because not everybody fishes matches, not everybody wants to know about matches. And it's quite enjoyable, you know, this is enjoyable fishing. It's the sort of thing you do for fun. I don't go and fish commercial fisheries very often for fun, unless it's the middle of winter and I'm looking for a bag of silvers. I fish commercial fisheries for matches. It's under at the moment, not coming back up, so I suspect he's snagging a bit of weed, so we'll just recast that back out again. As you can see, considering it's a river, I'm actually putting my rod on the rest because it's not moving through at any sort of pace. So holding the rod, it's not like a stick float, or I'm trotting the Waggler through at any great pace. I'm told by the guys that fish this place more often than I do that some days it does move a bit more, depending on whether the authorities are draining this into this is really drainage. It is part of the river, but it's been sort of straightened and dug deeper for drainage. That was a little bite then. Float actually lifted there. Yeah, it's been dug, obviously straightened out, and it's all part of the drainage for the sunset levels and that. And so sometimes I'll open it up to, drain some of the land off, and then you'll get a bit more flow. So it's variable, but it almost certainly always flows to the right. I'll speak to the guys and make sure that's the case, but I'm pretty sure that I'm not picking up the flow here. I'm just getting surface skim from the wind. I'm definitely dragging the bottom at the moment because the float the float goes along and then it sort of sits and holds down, and you can see it sort of get down and pops back up and then drifts along a little bit more. So I'm dragging the bottom, which is what I want. If I'm not really picking up the toe, if I'm not picking up the natural toe, I don't really want to be moving too much. So I'm hoping that when it's sitting still for those few seconds, somebody might have it then. I'm sticking with just loose feed down the middle today, just to see what happens. And then ground bait through the feeder. The ground bait's just a bit of old silver mix I had lying around. I've not sieved it or anything, just mixed it reasonably heavy because I want it to go straight to the bottom and not sure target better fish. And that's why I'm not chucking it super frequently. It's just come back up a little bit there. It could be, if it's just come through, it could be a fish. No, nothing there. I'll strike it out. The float was up and down a little bit there. I think it could have been just it drifting through. I'm just using a little reflection on the water as a marker as to where to wind back to, where to feed, so that I'm getting my distance pretty similar. One thing I've learned already is you've got to look out for dog walkers. I've got a dog visiting me now. As you don't try and get my bait, I don't mind. But yeah, you've got to watch out for dog walkers. It's a very popular dog walker spot. Oh, there's a little bite there. Oh, that's it. That's the first. Oh, look at live on camera. The first fish I've ever had out of the river kennel. The first fish I've ever hooked out of the river kennel. Let's see if we can get one out. Let's see if we can get him out. I'm about to say it feels like a perch. I'm going to net it just because it's the first fish I've ever hooked out of here. I'm going to get him out. There we have a very small little, pristine little perchy. Lovely colours. Because this water's so clear, I imagine this is going to be how the fish are in here. First one, mate. I've only just started. Oops, I dropped in. There we are. I was really picking this up on the camera, but there we are. I was dropping back in. Nice little perch. I'm not putting a keep net with me or anything. You can put a keep net in here. Hour ago. I'm sitting fishing with what is my dad's old setup mostly. I've just been to Cadbury Angling and topped up a few bits that I needed to make it work for me. And so that's kind of what's inspired this little idea to go and have a go at pleasure fishing, is to keep using my dad's tackle. Now that my dad's passed away, I thought I might as well keep using his tackle, and then I can do some videos about it. So it's positive that we've had a fish, so we're not blanked. It's a perch, which anybody who fishes natural venues with any regularity will tell you, if you're fishing with maggots and you're trying to build a swim in a natural venue, I'd say 9 out of 10 of you times you go fishing, the first fish you catch will be a perch. And slowly it can build into catching anything. I'm being quite positive with my feed, I feel like. But I've got a point of maggots, don't see any point in leaving them on the bank. I am not going fishing for a good week after today because I'm going away for my wife's birthday and I won't be back until next week, so that's interesting there. That's been hammered, so some roaches had that in its mouth. That's the first time we've had a bite there. This has been in 5 times now, and 5 times it's come back without a mark on. I haven't seen a bite, but it's very difficult for me to watch the tip really, because I'm watching the float as well. But I'm not worried about that. I missed a roach there, but it won't. I probably missed a small roach. I probably wouldn't have hooked it even if I'd have seen the bite. They're very difficult to hook on a feeder set of those smaller fish. So I don't worry too much about that. I'm looking for something that's going to snort the rod round and make a wall, and I've got to hang on to it. I won't lose the rod. I've got one of those Preston little grips. That's one of the things that I'll pop down to the tackle shop to buy, so I don't have to worry about the rod. If something does grab it, there's like a grip at backrest that will stop it being dragged in long enough for me to get hold of, hopefully. I'm just letting that line sink on that feeder while he's sinking. I'll pick a bit more maggot in. I'm quite positive. So we've been fishing for at least an hour and a half now. We've not actually landed anything other than that perch that you saw. Did hook a nice fish. Gentleman came down to speak to me. He was fishing at the other end. He said he's seen lots of bream but he couldn't catch them because they're on the surface. So maybe they're spawning. And while he was in, I was chatting to him. Had a really good bite, struck into it on the float. Hooked a nice fish, but it broke the hook length down into the snag to my left, the water here. So I don't know whether it was a nice tench or a nice bream or what. I feel like it was a tench. It was fighting quite hard. That's a wound, because like the second fish I've ever hooked on this river might have been one of the bonus fish that some people struggle to catch for a long time. So it might be a long time before I catch another one. But that's life, I'm fishing quite light. I've got no 10 up length on a silverfish hook, so. That's what you get. In these natural venues, it's like a balancing act, but that's why I'm learning about what I can get away with and what I can't get away with. All the indication on my float. I've been motionless for a few minutes now. That float's just sort of found a spot where it was sitting and dragging the bottom nicely. Whether the wind's just picked up and started moving it again, or whether that was a fish, don't know. So the float's probably could do with another shot on it really, but if it had another shot on it, would go under because it's dragging along and then it's sort of sitting in. It's getting on the bottom and it's just dragging down. But I'm like picking up weed, so I don't think I'm in weed. And so I'm quite happy just let it drag, because I think it should be moving that way. But it's not, it's moving that way because of the toe. because of the wind rather than the very, very subtle flow that's on it. So when it sits, I'm quite happy just to leave it sitting because I feel that's the best presentation I'm going to get. Got 4 or 5 dogs over the scrap behind me now. And it's just play fighting, to be fair. I'm just going to keep I've kept the maggots reining in because, you know, I've had that tent. The fella that was chatting to was quite surprised that I'd caught one, so obviously I've done well there. I've had one set of sucked maggots. Oh, here we are, what have we got on here? It went under there and we've got something. It's not quite as big as the last, the one that got away, but it's a bit bigger I think than the perch that we did land. At least it's fighting harder than the perch that we did land. It could be like a nice skimmer or something. That's a nice roach. It's a lovely roach. Have a little look at him. That was good timing putting the cameras on. Got a little bit of black spot on him. He's just up nicely in the bottom jaw there. Yeah. Sorry, Mickey Cat Hat's getting in the way of the camera again. There we are. Nice little roachy. Not going to throw him back from me, he's too far. We'll just release him. Single red maggot. And just let it definitely come to a rest, and I'll just let it stay there because I thought, well, I've been letting it drift through. So maybe that's what we've got to do, is let it find a spot where it wants to sit. And it's in amongst where the feed's been going in. Shouldn't be the end of the world. Get a tangle every single time I do anything except just the standard, because it's so difficult to keep it all under control. It's so deep. Out of practice at such things. That's got to go back out again because that's junk. That's better. Oh, that's nice. Just to the right of the way the feed is, so hopefully it'll just drift in right to left as it's settling. It's obviously 8 or 9 feet of water. I've only got a couple of shot down the line, letting it drop in slowly. It takes a while to settle. And we've hooked the sounds and eel, guys. Wiggly worm, little baby one. Smallest one I've ever caught. These are the worst ones to catch because they're lively, very difficult to unhook. Let's see if we can get the hook out. He snapped us off, but he snapped there. He's just wiggled around the snap drop length, and I can't get to the hook now, so I'm gonna have to go back in with the hook in him, I'm afraid. Little wiggly worm, he's gone. Right, guys, it's 8:15. Nothing's really happened since the eel. I've come up off the bottom for a pole float at a Waggler's length for, I don't know, 5 or 6 chucks, and I've had nothing. So I've just gone back down to half a float length off the bottom, or half of the float length shallower than I was. The wind has stopped totally, and so the fluid is now actually very slowly drifting left to right, which is probably the same as what the bait's doing, which is good. There are odd bubbles there, and may have put quite a lot of bait in for the, for this particular venue. I'm not going to have much. I must have put 3/4 of a pint in already. which, you know, 3 hours, it's not that big a deal, is it? It's not, you know, not that aggressive, maybe 2.5 to 3 hours fishing, but it is on a venue like this. But I'm just putting less in each pouch now and just trying to group it tighter. Still feel like, you know, if I'm going to catch a better fish, I'm going to have to put some bait in, so I can't expect a fish to find my maggot in this water without, you know, giving it a reason to be in that area, so I just keep letting maggots drop through the water. And if something in the area, get its head down and feed on some of these maggots that are there, and maybe I'll get one. Right guys, tip's just gone round. Like I said, I was looking down and the tip was round and I was like, what is going on? This tip's gone round. I was chucking this feeder out. I actually missed a bite on the Waggler, and I was quite annoyed because I thought, oh, it's getting to that time of night where that might have been a decent fish, that bite. Just moving that Waggler all that way. This is a much better fish. I'm going to say it's a bream because it's just come to the top quite easily. Oh, it's a nice bream. It's a very nice bream. I would love to get a bream out on my first visit to the KENN. On the double maggot. He's got himself all wrapped up. Can we get him out? He's in the bag. Absolutely brilliant, that is. Chuck that feeder for 3 or 4 hours without anything. Just building up an area. Finally, we've got him. Christ, he's a big boy. Oh my goodness, let's go on the grass over here. Oops, caught with me kit. That guy's is up there, one of the biggest bream I've ever had. Look at that, I've got very big hands. He's got to be 5 or 6 pound, that fish. Not got any scales with me, but he's a proper one. Take a look out of him. We came for. Trying to see where this line's coming from. There it is. There it is. What a lovely fish, guys. What a lovely fish. Absolutely, look how thick it is. It's a belt. Lovely fish. There we are. I was about to give up hope that we were going to get something decent on our first visit, and I wasn't actually expecting to catch anything decent on our first visit, so to say I'm over the moon is an understatement. I've literally hooked a tench, I lost it. Now we've landed a bream. All is well.